In Florence on WYFF News 4.
Tropical storm Florence continued to slowly move westward toward our area, already getting some of the rain bands across the area. Fairly light precipitation, but some heavy rain and strong winds are still on the way. Chris and I will time it out for you.
I've never been so terrified in my entire life. It was horrifying.
Swift water rescues in North Carolina. You're seeing them here, and you're going to see some damage from above. We do believe drone video showing New Bern underwater.
Coastal and riverfront towns flooded already from Florence. Overflowing rivers even further inland add to the threat. Chief
Meteorologist John Sesrich right here. John, the track's so very slow, and where's it going to go right now? What do you see?
Yeah, very slow is right, Michael and Carol. In fact, it hasn't moved hardly at all. In fact, if you look at the same map from 24 hours ago, and it's almost identical from 24 hours ago. It's just barely crawling away. It's 60 miles west of Myrtle Beach, the center, and already the western rain bands continue to move in very quickly across the area. From the northeast, we've had some pockets of moderate to heavy rain. They've had a quick burst of heavy rain for you folks in Greenwood. You had about 36/100 of an inch of rain in an hour's time period, and more heavy rain starting to rotate in, as you can see, heading into Union and also Gaffney, Chester, York counties, all the way down through Newberry. These are pockets of 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour rate, and more heavy rain moving through the Charlotte area. This will rotate in and back up against the mountains, where we could see some very heavy rain, and that's going to be later on tonight. So far, as expected, we were expecting these rain showers to move in, but the heaviest precipitation, the strongest winds are going to be tonight. 1 to 3+ inches of rain in the upstate, 3 to 4 to 5 inches for you folks in Gaffney in the northeastern part of the upstate, and then 3 to 6+ inches of rain in the mountains and also the foothills. But backed up against the mountains, as you can see, the east slopes, the southeast slopes of the mountain range of North Carolina, 6 to 10+ inches of rain is certainly possible, as you're going to get that southeasterly wind as the low tracks right over the Greenville area, not until late tonight and during the day tomorrow. So still, we've been saying it for the last couple of days, Chris and I, the greatest threat for tropical storm force wind gusts and very heavy rain will be overnight tonight and through especially tomorrow morning. Now back to you, Carol.
John, thank you. Right now, it's been more than 36 hours since Florence made landfall as a hurricane right there on the North Carolina coast. There are more than 750,000 people in the dark tonight across the Carolinas. The storm has claimed 12 lives so far, among them a baby. Right now, here in the upstate, the highest wind gust we've seen today was in Pickens at 39 miles per hour.
As we remind you, this storm is headed our way. We're going to take a tour now of some of the worst damage to our east. New Bern, North Carolina, taking some of the worst. Roads collapsed, streets underwater. Parts of the entire city are underwater. Hundreds of people had to be rescued just in New Bern. Important note, New Bern is not on the beach, not on the coast. That town is on the Neuse River.
New Hanover County, North Carolina took a real hit as well. Wilmington and Carolina Beach fall in that county. Trees down all across the county, and storm surge, leaving parts of the area underwater.
This is a possibility for us as well. Look at the power outages. The latest we have here, more than 700,000 people without power in North Carolina. That number has been falling throughout the day. The overall total down in South Carolina as well. We're updating these figures, by the way, at the bottom of your screen. Stay tuned to the ticker here at WYFF News 4.
As we mentioned just a moment ago, the storm has claimed 12 lives so far, and one of those lives here in the upstate. WYFF News 4's Joe Ripley is live and local in Union County. Joe?
Amber Dawn Lee was 61 years old. Folks around here knew her as Dawn. She made her living working at this restaurant called The Cafe here on Main Street in downtown Jonesville. She worked as a waitress as well as a manager, the mother of two. Actually lived not too far away from here. Highway Patrol says she was driving along Highway 18 around 9:30 last night. Her pickup truck crashed roof first into a downed tree. Coroner tells us strong winds from Tropical Storm Florence are to blame. Gusts caused the tree to come down and block both lanes of Highway 18. Crews were out earlier to clear the roadway. This is the first Florence-related death in South Carolina. Dawn's co-workers shared this picture of her with us. They got emotional when telling me about their friend.
You could be the saddest person in the world, and that woman would walk in and it would turn your face upside down, turn it right back up.
Destiny Black has worked at the cafe for 2 years alongside Dawn. She says she always looked to Dawn for advice, and Dawn always cheered her up. Now, coming up at 7:30, you'll hear from another co-worker of Dawn's. She gave him his first job. That story coming up. Joe Ripley, WYFF News 4 live tonight in Union County.
Oh, thank you for that. Let's get you some GoPro video showing rain piling up in Myrtle Beach. Trees down throughout the Grand Strand area. Governor Henry McMaster lifted evacuation orders for 4 of the coastal counties today. For the remaining 2 counties, Horry and Georgetown, that order will be lifted tomorrow morning.
It has been most unpredictable. Well, what has been predictable and steady is our concern about the heavy rain and the flooding, and that is on course for what we have been anticipating all along.
Let's check in now with the PD. Video on your right will show flooding in Loris, South Carolina. That's right near the North Carolina state line. And Karen Johnson with our sister station is live in Conway. Karen, what are you seeing in Conway tonight?
Well, good evening. You know, the concern here tonight has shifted from the wind to the flooding. Now I'm here in Conway, which is about 16 miles inland from Myrtle Beach, and you can see the problems it's causing, not just for homeowners, but also for drivers. This stretch of the road has shut down. Police tell me this is the first to be closed, but they expect more in the coming days. The Waccamaw River is expected to reach record flood stage, and if that happens, folks here are looking at another set of problems. Main roads like Route 501 into Myrtle Beach could be shut down. As for storm damage, we did see some downed trees, some on top of wires, and saturated grounds bring the risk of more fallen trees. Now, there was a little bit of a break in the rain this afternoon, and as soon as that happened, this McDonald's opened its drive-thru. The line wrapped around the building, and cars were lined up down Route 501. People also rushed to one of the only gas stations that remained open during the storm, the Scotchman's in an unincorporated area of Myrtle Beach. Employees tell me they always stay open for police, first responders, and the community so they can fill up on necessities.
It's good. I have ice, tons of ice, bottled water. I'm prepared.
I want them to know that they can depend on us. We're very dependable. We stay open for them.
Now, the evacuation order was lifted for this region earlier this afternoon, but authorities are advising people to top off their gas tanks and also fill up on necessities because a lot of businesses in Conway and Myrtle Beach remain closed tonight. Reporting live in Conway, Karen Johnson, back to you.
Karen, thank you for that. Back down to North Carolina, let's get you another look at that drone video out of New Bern. Roads turn to rivers. Pretty much the entire town is under some kind of water here. Governor Cooper emphasizing again today, Florence is not just hitting the beach towns.
We face walls of water at our coast, along our rivers, across farmland, in our cities, and in our towns.
All right, we showed you New Bern. Let's get you south now back to Wilmington. Some folks doing exactly what the first responders warn against. There's the offense right there, driving through standing water. It is never a safe idea.
New information on Florence here, looking at the peak wind gusts so far today. We've hit tropical storm strength in Pickens, a 39-mile-per-hour wind gust. So far, 38-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Spartanburg. Hendersonville and Rutherfordton, a 31-mile-per-hour wind gust. And look at Toccoa, highest in Georgia there so far, 36-mile-per-hour gust. Right now, we have rain moving in. With it, some very gusty winds. You're looking at current wind gust, 31-mile-per-hour right there in Spartanburg as these rain bands continue to move on in. Look at those yellows there. That is heavy rain. It'll also contain some gustier winds. Let's look ahead now, taking you into the future. 8 p.m. tonight, we've got wind gusts approaching the 40 to 45-mile-per-hour range. And then later tonight, 11, 11:30, some of these bands move through with potentially 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts. By 8 a.m. tomorrow, you're waking up. Hopefully you have power. We're going to see isolated power outages tonight. Look at the heavy rainfall continuing across the mountains, especially on the eastern-facing slopes of the mountains. Here comes more heavy rainfall and gusty winds, but they start to go down. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we've got 20 to 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the upstate, close to 40 in the mountains, and then we start to see the rain retreat toward the mountains late in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock. The mountains are the only ones seeing the rain, and then by early Monday morning, we're all dry with breezy conditions. That's the way it's timing out right now. John is taking a look at the latest computer model for rainfall expectations. He'll have that for you coming up here in just a few minutes.
At Longhorn, get tonight's spec.
Told y'all that I would skip through the commercials, and I am.
WYFF4 app and on our Facebook page. In times like these, trust WYFF News 4.
Today we're here to...
Thought that was something to do with Florence.
Back now, continuing coverage on the approach of Florence to Spartanburg, where the wind and rain are picking up. It's also where hundreds of medics are on standby. Once FEMA gives them their deployments, they will hit the road and head to help. Our Madeline Hackett back there live with the latest for us tonight. Madeline?
Well, Michael, the two themes out here in Spartanburg today, rain and wind. Rain coming down pretty consistently all day, but nothing too heavy. Wind has been more of a factor. Pretty gusty at times. You can see over my shoulder here the red windsock out there on the tarmac. That's been blowing all day. What I really want you to see, though, are all of these ambulances. Now at this point, more than 200 here at the Spartanburg downtown airport, and more continue to roll in, I'm told. That's because as the trajectory of this storm changes, FEMA's actually sending more ambulances to this site so that they can be accurately deployed. And getting the thumbs up over there from one EMS worker. They're coming from across the country. I spoke with people from Las Vegas and as far as northern, southern California, even Washington. Many are seasoned in this business and have been deployed for previous hurricanes in the past. Once deployed, the ambulances travel together in groups, kind of caravan style, ranging from 5 to as many as 25. It's something they want drivers on the roads right now to be aware of.
Allowing us to pass as a group, so we all stay together. Folks are obviously not from the area. We all have GPS, but it's better and safer for us if we stay together as a group.
And this Spartanburg staging area is entirely self-sufficient. That means they have showers, food, cots, even a screen donated by Palmetto Soundworks for some of these workers to watch TV while they wait for deployment. And these workers are required to give a 21-day commitment. We know how slowly this storm is crawling. They tell me that because of that, they wouldn't be surprised if they use up all of those 21 days. We're live in Spartanburg. Madeline Hackett, WYFF News 4.
Madeline, thank you. Tim Waller is live in downtown Greenville tonight, monitoring the weather from there. Tim, the winds from this system really kicked up today, right?
Carol, it actually feels less gusty than it did a few hours ago when scores of people were here in downtown Greenville milling about. In fact, check this out. Lots of people going about their business today, taking it all in stride, having a good time, in fact, but amazed by how strong the wind gusts were at times. Also getting wind blown today, we ran into a couple from Charleston. They drove here Wednesday because of that mandatory evacuation, and Kim and Alan Rio told us they were among the few in their neighborhood who decided to play it safe.
Most of our neighborhood stayed. I think people just try to wait till the last minute, and it's been, I don't want to call it a false alarm because you do need to have safety first and get people out, but it's very difficult to leave your home not knowing what's going to happen.
And we also checked into the Greenville County Emergency Management Division this weekend. They are all staffed up, monitoring the storm's effects in our area, keeping their eyes open for downed trees and power lines and really anything that poses a danger. We are seeing quite a few people come out here tonight, despite the fact that it's a little overcast, a little bit gusty right now, and there has been some rain drizzle, but all in all, not a bad night here in downtown Greenville. Tim Waller, WYFF News 4, live in Greenville.
All right, Tim, thank you for that, and that is destined to change, of course. Video here out of Wilmington, North Carolina.
That city just pummeled by Florence, and one of the first to see the storm's effects yesterday. Meteorologist A.J. Burnett is live in Wilmington with the latest on conditions. A.J., has it eased up a little?
Yeah, the rain has eased up quite a bit, but the wind is still kind of fierce out here. And I want to direct your attention over to my right shoulder there. You see those dark clouds over in the distance there. In addition to all the heavy rain and all the wind and the lack of power in Wilmington, a tornado warning was just issued just to our, let's see, that would have to be my west, or just to my right. And so we're keeping our eyes on things very carefully. We've had a nasty band of rain from Florence set up just off in the distance there, and it's been creeping slowly toward the south and east over the past couple of hours. This promises to produce a whole lot of rain, and in addition to that, we've also got embedded lightning and some rotation with those storms as well. So kind of a dangerous situation setting up in Wilmington here over the course of the next half hour at least, if not just from any possible quick spin up or tornado, but also from the heavy rain that'll be falling and will likely cause some pockets of flooding once again as well. Wrightsville Beach behind me remains shut off, no power. They have no sewer and no water. Now, they shut off the water manually. The sewer system was backed up because of a pumping problem. They had some water infiltration get into that pumping station, and so they're working to remedy that before they can really do anything else. And again, electricity has been cut off to the barrier beaches for quite some time now. I'm told by officials it's probably not going to be until at least early next week when they allow folks back on to Wrightsville Beach. We're live in Wilmington. I'm meteorologist A.J. Burnett. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, he's live there in Wilmington, and as he said, those rain bands coming into Wilmington. A tornado watch continues from Fayetteville to Wilmington and just north of Myrtle Beach. Already some of these rain bands starting to rotate across our area. We'll talk about it in detail coming up next. Daily on the radar, you can see this is a tornado watch which continues in the red box here. There is the center of Florence, Tropical Storm Florence, about 60 miles to the west of Myrtle Beach, not very far from where it was at this time yesterday. It's just barely moving along the counterclockwise circulation, so still almost half, or at least maybe a third, of the circulation is out in the open waters of the Atlantic, so that's the reason why these rain bands continue. And some of this heavy rain band is going to move through the Charlotte area and wrap around and come across our area as we go into the overnight hours. That's why I think we can see some pretty good rain showers. And already, look at these pockets right here in the eastern part, from York, Chester, Union, Gaffney, Blacksburg, all the way down into Newberry counties. And these yellows and oranges, those are pockets of probably 1 inch, maybe even 2 inches rainfall rates per hour. So you're going to see some very heavy rain. And when you do get these heavy rain showers, the winds also start to pick up dramatically. And then they'll die down when you have the lighter rains. So far in the Greenville area, as Tim's been reporting in downtown, just a couple sprinkles back into Pickens and also in Oconee County. A lot of this is just very, very light rain, but look at this heavy rain. This is going to continue to rotate in from the northeast while the whole line itself moves west as Florence, the center, continues to slowly move westbound. Rain showers really starting to back up against the eastern slopes and the southeastern slopes of the mountains, and that's where we're really worried about the heaviest rainfall. Still thinking 1 to 3+ inches of rain in the upstate. 1 inch probably back here, maybe a ½ inch from northeastern Georgia. It's going to then go to 2 inches, maybe Spartanburg. Then you're looking at 3, 4, 5 inches in Gaffney, maybe Union, over into York and Chester counties. Charlotte could end up with maybe 10, 11, 12 inches of rain. 3 to 6+ inches of rain expected in North Carolina, but again, the upslope areas could see 6 to 10+ inches of rain. This is overnight tonight and also during the day tomorrow, because most of the rain's going to taper off in the upstate by tomorrow afternoon, and that's all going to shift up into North Carolina. So here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. 45-mile-per-hour sustained winds, and it's just crawling, moving at only 2 miles per hour to the west. It should start to pick up its speed as there's a big dome of high pressure in the upper atmosphere, almost the mid-levels of the atmosphere in the upper Midwest. That's going to move tonight into the Great Lakes, and that should allow it to build down here and start to pick it up. And that means it'll start to race off to the northwest much quicker. And by 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, right along the North Carolina-South Carolina line, and then it moves all the way through Tennessee and all the way up into Kentucky. So overnight tonight and through tomorrow morning is where we're going to see our heaviest rainfall across the entire area. So you can see all the rain coming in. These are your current wind gusts, 30 miles per hour just a few minutes ago, actually 31 in Spartanburg. And these gusts are going to become more prevalent as we go through the overnight hours. And they're going to go stronger in the northeastern part of the App State, much lighter as we get back into northeastern Georgia. Here's some of the rainfall amounts across the area. And you can see the heaviest rain will be off to our northeast, lighter amounts, much lighter amounts once we get back into northeastern Georgia. So timing is critical. The track is critical, and Chris is going to talk more about that right now.
Yeah, the impacts are here, John. They're here to stay really through most of the day tomorrow, especially in the mountains. Let's break it down here for you as you're looking ahead. Local impacts for tonight. Rain and wind continue, but the flood threat begins to increase. We've had a couple of inches of rain, especially the eastern part toward the foothills. That's all moving west. Power outages will become more widespread as we get into the evening hours with those gusty winds beginning to pick up. For our Sunday, waves of heavy rainfall, especially early in the day. By mid-afternoon, you're going to start to see the heaviest rain shift toward the North Carolina-South Carolina line, and then eventually the rain slowly moves out late in the day. We'll be here keeping you posted through the evening hours as you're watching Football Night in America, but all in all, things should start looking better by tomorrow evening, John.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's get this thing moving much, much quicker. So as we go through to this evening, you can see the showers continuing to make their way in. Some of the rain showers actually heavy at times. Now back to you, Carol.
John and Chris, thank you. Clemson's football team was the only one to play in the state today, and the Tigers knocked off Georgia Southern 38-7. They played in front of an announced attendance of more than 79,000 fans. Running back Travis Etienne led the way for Clemson, scoring 2 touchdowns on the afternoon. Freshman Trevor Lawrence threw a touchdown pass to fellow freshman Justin Ross on the way to the win. WYFF News 4's Julia Morris was there at the game and spoke with a couple of parents of a Clemson football player.
There is one college football game being played in the state of South Carolina this weekend. That's here at Clemson. Hurricane Florence obviously impacted the college football schedule across the Carolinas. It also affected the families of some Clemson football players. That includes Hunter Renfro, his family from the Sockasty, Myrtle Beach area, but they made the trip up to Clemson for the game.
That certainly takes your mind off of what's going on at home, to be able to just come up here and have fun. It's beautiful up here. Just great to be up here and be able to spend time with the boys.
Yes, we got some pictures of some neighbors that stayed this morning, and everything looks great. No trees in the yard. The neighborhood really looks good. I know we'll get some more rain today, but I think we're really blessed in our beach.
Suzanne Renfro also mentioned the strong sense of community that happens after a devastating event like this. That's one positive that you can take away from this terrible storm. In Clemson, I'm Julia Morris, WYFF News 4 Sports.
We in the upstate are beginning to feel the storm right now as we take a live look at Myrtle Beach. More coverage of Tropical Storm Florence coming our way. Straight ahead.
By midweek, Florence will be over New York City. Yeah, it's going to move pretty quickly once it gets caught up by that steering current. We'll have more on that coming up.
Big people in the low-lying areas as Florence keeps on dumping that rain.
Right now we've rescued over 400 people.
Hundreds rescued over the past 36 hours in North Carolina, and at least 12 lives claimed by floods.
And the storm inching this way. Let's get you right over to Chief Meteorologist John Susseridge.
Yeah, inching this way is right, isn't it, John?
Yeah, it's only moving, Carol and Michael, west at only about 2 to 3 miles per hour. 2 miles per hour. You can walk faster than that. That's just ridiculous. It's about 60 miles to the west of Myrtle Beach. Heavy rain bands continue to move into North Carolina, but look at this. We're already starting to see some of the rain bands moving across our area now as we go through overnight tonight, 2 o'clock after midnight tonight, 40-mile-per-hour wind, so it's going to slowly continue to weaken. It's got 45-mile-per-hour winds down to 40. Then it becomes a tropical depression as we go through the day tomorrow. By 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 30-mile-per-hour winds right along the North Carolina-South Carolina line. But this track is going to continue to bring in some pretty good rain for us as we go through the night tonight and during the day tomorrow. So take a look at our radar, live Super Doppler 4 HD, along with the current wind gust, at least over the last 2 or 3 hours, and you can see it now, 30-mile-per-hour wind gust in Gaffney. So when we get some of these yellows and oranges, when those move across, that's a burst of very heavy rain, that's when you get those strong wind gusts. They don't last very long, and then you'll be in a little bit of a lull. So it's kind of like these waves of rain. Most of the rain on the western edge is fairly light right now. But these heavier showers will continue to rotate in and become more widespread as we go through the rest of tonight through tomorrow mornings. And tropical storm force wind gusts are certainly possible, which is 39 miles per hour or greater. And most of us are going to see probably at least a couple of inches of rain in the upstate and a lot more in the mountains. Now back to you, Michael.
Yeah, here it comes, John. Thank you for that. Right now, more than 36 hours since Florence made landfall as a hurricane near Wilmington. There are still more than 769,000 people in the dark tonight across the Carolinas. 12 people have died in the storm so far, 11 of them in North Carolina, 1 woman in South Carolina. So far, the highest wind gust we've seen today, it came in Pickens, 39 miles per hour.
Let's take another look at those power outages. That number in North Carolina has edged up even from the beginning of this broadcast. The South Carolina figure also slightly higher than just half an hour ago. Let's take a look at some of this damage. Florence wreaking havoc in Wilmington, North Carolina. Trees down across the city, flooding throughout as well.
Just across the state line to the south in South Carolina, this is Florence. Take a look here, floodwaters surrounding homes there. This is pretty much typical just to the west of Myrtle Beach. This is Horry County, inland of the beach. Our Brenda McDavid has been covering Florence and Myrtle Beach all week. She and Nigel Robertson each filed reports from the coast this afternoon.
Brenda McDavid in Myrtle Beach. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon and high tide here in Myrtle Beach. Take a look at the ocean. You can see the tide is pushing up on shore. Right now we're on the back end of Tropical Storm Florence, which means we're dealing with storm surge. Earlier this week we were talking about a 4 to 6 foot storm surge. That's looking more like a 1 foot storm surge, but still dangerous nonetheless. As far as damage goes, though, we drove around Ocean Boulevard today and the damage was pretty minimal. The city says they got around 70 reports of damage, everything from downed trees to power lines and malfunctioning stoplights. We found flooding in the lower level parking garage at Bay Harbor, and those tropical storm force winds managed to topple a hotel sign. The real threat, though, going forward is flooding west of the Intercoastal Waterway towards Conway.
This corner of South Carolina is going to be in the news for the next couple of weeks. All that rain in North Carolina plus all of our rain here is going to come through South Carolina in the river system. We're expecting flooding even greater than we saw from Hurricane Matthew.
We've actually seen the Coast Guard flying by overhead along the beach. We expected up to 20 inches of rain here in Myrtle Beach. It's going to be closer 8 to 15. Still, Myrtle Beach remains at a flash flood watch. Brenda McDavid, WYFF News 4 in Myrtle Beach.
I'm Nigel Robertson in Charleston, where it is afternoon and you could see it is high tide. But look, there is no damage here at the Waterfront Park. There's no damage at the Battery. There's no flooding downtown. Charleston area has definitely dodged yet another bullet. In fact, people are, look, outside playing soccer, just kind of enjoying the weather, taking it all in. The airport, as of today, is back open. Charleston International Airport, allowing flights in and out once again. The governor has removed the mandatory evacuation for this area. Now, this area has dodged another bullet, but this storm is not over yet. Two concerns now. The river system and flooding along the river as all that water from the inland comes down, and then there's also the concern for trees falling. The ground is saturated, and there are still wind gusts that could bring some trees down. But for the most part, Charleston has dodged yet another bullet. In Charleston, I'm Nigel Robertson.
Let's get you back up to Wilmington, North Carolina. So much damage there. That gas station on your right didn't make it through Florence.
Yeah, it's pretty typical. Stuart Moore with our sister station back live in Wilmington. Stuart, it just keeps raining there. How's the weather where you are right now?
Well, Michael and Carol, if you would have came to me about 5 minutes ago, you would have thought it was calm and nothing had happened here. But as you can see right now, those winds have picked back up, and according to radar, we're about to get hit with another big burst of rainfall as well. Now, this area is right next to Cape Fear River. Right now, it's about 19 feet. That's already above average. It's expected to hit closer to 40 feet by the time we get to Tuesday. That's the major concern still left on the minds of many of these people here in Wilmington. Another big issue they've got going on right now is a tremendous amount of downed trees. Historic Wilmington in the downtown area, it's covered with trees everywhere. You can't drive around in most parts because of those huge oak trees that are now blocking those roadways. Many of those houses, thankfully for those folks there, have been spared. We did go to one apartment complex where it was a senior living facility. Most of those patients and people had to be taken out of there, taken to a shelter after the roof of that building actually flew off overnight. They did not have power since 7 a.m. yesterday. They were rescued by firefighters earlier today. As you can see out here, it is very dark. Power is not expected to come back on for up to 3 weeks here in Wilmington. Back to you guys in the studio.
breaking heavier rain bands now moving into our area on live Super Doppler 4 HD. Check out this one in southern Cherokee County moving into Union County. Check out Union County. In fact, this heavier band right here pushing toward Lawrence. In fact, let's put a storm track on it here. West Spring 740, Cross Keys 806, Enoree 819, and then Lawrence by 848. In that, a clock of 28 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. So the gusts are beginning to pick up as these bands that are actually closer to the center of circulation of Florence begin to move our way. Remember, the actual center is moving over Greenville by tomorrow morning into the mid-afternoon hours. So we'll start to see those winds pick up. And look at the foothills right now, some heavier rain moving in from the Charlotte area. Let's time it out here for you as we go through the overnight hours. Midnight, more widespread rain, those yellows and oranges, even a few reds indicating just torrential rain by 4 or 5 a.m. As we get into 8 a.m., 9 a.m., look at how the storms start to become a bit more scattered across the upstate. But in the mountains, it's a constant fire hose of moisture just wrapping in from the Atlantic. That's where we're concerned about seeing some flooding. We'll show you those rainfall totals coming up here in just a few minutes.
Introducing
The sunset as seen from our Woodruff Road sky camera. You can see how quickly, Michael, those clouds are moving. And if you get outside and you get under the sky, you can see that they are moving in sort of a circular pattern.
We have a storm coming, but just wanted to show you something beautiful there before the worst of it, worst of Florence, comes our way.
Absolutely. Back to Spartanburg now. Our Madeline Hackett is there.
Madeline, we understand there are some 200 ambulances on standby, but they have some helicopters there ready to go as well, right?
Well, Michael and Carol, we talk about during times like these how time is of the essence, and few things illustrate this better than these guys. Medical emergency helicopters. Let's give you a look inside what one looks like that will soon be deployed to the coast. These essentially act as flying ICUs. There are 11 here in this hangar in Spartanburg, 32 total that eventually will be deployed to the coast. They have everything from defibrillators to IV units and monitors. And as I mentioned, time of the essence, you can see from where I'm standing, this is actually where the patient is loaded in. So that critical time between landing and takeoff is incredibly, extraordinarily efficient. Take a look at some of the video we shot earlier today of this hangar. This incident commander, Ken Grimes, tells me that there are 3 reasons in times like this why helicopters are so crucial. He says speed to reach victims, access to hard to reach areas, and lastly, ability to treat serious traumas while in the air.
They can even give drugs as advanced as anesthesia, putting patients under, and executing some really pretty complex medical procedures that are needed in emergencies.
Now, ambulances also, of course, play a crucial role. There are now more than 200 here as more continue to arrive by the minute, and they'll soon be deployed by FEMA to the coast. So obviously these helicopters can't fly into a storm. That's where the ambulances kind of come into play. These helicopters do expect to be deployed as early as tomorrow. We're live in Spartanburg. Madeline Hackett, WYFF News 4.
Well, there's the track of Florence moving right on top of us in the upstate as we go through tomorrow, especially in the morning. Then it races off into the eastern Ohio River Valley. It's over New York City, the Big Apple, by early next week. We'll be right back. slowly moving at the I mean, at 2 miles an hour, that's just ridiculous. 60 miles west of Myrtle Beach, almost in the same place it was yesterday at this time. But already those rain bands, the far western rain bands from Florence, are affecting us.
Yeah, it's moving on in. Guys, let's go ahead and switch to Weather 1 if we can. That's where our main maps are. We'll show you this tornado watch box that's over parts of Wilmington. There we go. Yep. Affecting the same areas that have gotten 31 inches of rain. Just amazing, John, to see that moving on in.
Yeah, I think it was a little town called Swansboro in North Carolina, which is just to the east-southeast of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Over 30 inches of rain. That broke the record for any type of tropical system to hit the state of North Carolina. And the old record was 2 feet of rain. I do believe was Hurricane Floyd back in 1999.
And here we go with it impacting our area. Steady, solid rain with pockets of heavier downpours. Those yellows indicating just pretty torrential rain there. Union County, Cherokee County, Spartanburg County just getting it steady rain right now.
Yeah, and those little pockets you're talking about, you also get the heavy rain, moderate to heavy rain. But when you get those bursts, you also get those bursts of wind too. So the wind gusts pick up pretty quickly. Look at all that rain backing up against the eastern slopes of the mountains. That's where we're really worried about, Chris, where we could see the most rain falling.
Just the beginning for these folks. That's why we have this flash flood watch that goes now and through Monday evening. 3 to 6 inches plus up there. But, John, right where I grew up on, right there in the mountains, 6 to 10 plus inches.
That's just amazing. So we're going to be talking about mudslides, flash flooding, rivers and streams going over their overbank. So we're going to have to really watch this very, very closely. And, of course, we will overnight tonight through tomorrow. So here's the track. Really hasn't changed a whole lot, Chris, since yesterday, as you can see.
Timing is still on track with the center to move right over our area by Sunday at 2. Now, remember we showed you earlier the quadrant of the system. The southern part of the system doesn't have a lot of rain. So we'll still get some showers, but by 2 o'clock, you'll start to see that low pull up the rain with it. You'll get it all on the north, the west, and the east side. But that southern side starts to begin to slowly dry things back out. And look at 2 a.m. by Monday, it's up in Kentucky.
It's already up in Kentucky, yeah. You folks in northeastern Georgia, with this track, you're not going to see much at all. Just a little bit of rain here and there and some gusty winds from time to time. It's really from Greenville, Asheville, Greenville, maybe to Greenwood, northeast bound. You're in that northeastern quadrant, so you're going to see the heaviest rain. You can see these rain bands coming in, and the heaviest rain, Chris, seems to be still confined to the eastern part of the upstate and the foothills of North Carolina.
Gaffney clocking a 30-mile-per-hour wind gust right now. They're set to get higher. Here's a look at the forecast. 46-mile-per-hour gust later tonight. Maybe even up to a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust. New model here to show you. As you can see, heavier rain begins to move on in as we go into tomorrow morning. Maybe you're going out to breakfast, church services. Many services, which you can find on our website, are either canceling or abbreviating their services tomorrow due to the impending weather moving our way. Look at this. As we go through the afternoon hours, slowly starting to pull up to the mountains.
Yep, and it starts the heaviest rain mainly north of I-85, and especially up into North Carolina. North Carolina's I think it's going to get the brunt of the storm system as it moves across our area. But so the worst is yet to come. I mean, today people are thinking, well, where's this? It's coming. It's arriving. Look how much rain we're expecting right now. If we can get to the 4-day or not, probably not, but we're still, there you go. Forecast for tonight, obviously some patches of heavy rain coming in from the northeast with those showers wrapping around, Chris, and that's for the mountains.
We're taking a power hit every now and again here at the station. Thankfully, we have generators and lots of fail-safes in place. Wouldn't be surprised to see many wake up to power outages tomorrow morning with these kind of winds moving on in.
And the heavy rain. Yep, and the rain will finally start to come to an end Monday night. Most of next week looks fantastic. Hot and humid. Now back to you, Kiddo.
Thank you, gentlemen. Officials blame strong winds for South Carolina's first casualty as a result of Florence. Our Joe Ripley is live in Union County, where friends are remembering a life lost. Joe?
Friends and co-workers of 61-year-old Amber Donnelly found it difficult to come to work this morning. You can see this is where she worked, the cafe in downtown Jonesville. Co-workers said it just didn't feel quite the same without Don there. Highway Patrol says Don was driving a couple miles from here down Highway 18 around 9:30 Friday night when her pickup truck rammed roof first into a toppled tree. The tree was blocking the 2-lane road, sitting 6 feet off the ground. Coroner says Dawn was wearing a seatbelt, but she died at the scene on impact. Co-workers shared this photo of Dawn. She works as a waitress and manager at the cafe, off and on for nearly 2 decades. On the door to the restaurant, you can find a note posted asking for thoughts and prayers for her family.
Basically, she's like the heart of the cafe. You know, she comes in bright. She makes sure that everybody's okay and everybody's ready to work, and it just means a lot to this town, to the people, to the cafe.
A neighbor nearby, he witnessed the crash. He said he tried to flag Dawn down with a flashlight, but she never saw it and did not slow down. As for an update on the conditions out here in Union County tonight, the rain's still steadily falling. It's been falling ever since around 1 o'clock this afternoon, if not earlier. The wind's picking up too. In fact, the wind's responsible for this, a branch falling down nearly 4 stories tall, nearly hitting my photographer in the head. Just a word of note to be cautious. Joe Ripley, WYFF News 4, live tonight in Union County.
Oh, you guys stay safe, Joe. Thank you for that. Let's get you back out to Wilmington, North Carolina, where in some places the stoplights have fallen into the flooded streets below. That's a pretty good snapshot of what's going on there. Meteorologist A.J. Burnett joins us one more time right there along the Intercoastal Waterway, just across it from Wrightsville Beach. A.J., that rain just keeps on falling there. No sign of it going away.
Unbelievable amounts of rain. You know, 1 minute it's like this. Not a drop of rain, but just about maybe 5-10 minutes ago, it was like somebody was taking a fire hose and pointing it right at our windshield. It was incredible. Now, we did have to move temporarily. We went to a place where they actually have a staging area for emergency crews for Wrightsville Beach. We had a tornado warning go into effect. No confirmation as to whether or not one touched down, but it was very close to our east. We had to take that into consideration and pull into a safer spot. But we're back now. Tornado warning has expired. There is still lots of squalls coming in just to my north and east, and we're waiting for that kind of band of rain to start sinking southward, and we'll get soaked again, which of course just means that we're going to be dealing with more flooding, street flooding. It's just going to cause the crews to be delayed in restoring power and other municipal means as well. I got to tell you, some of these rainfall totals are incredible. In Wilmington, we have over a foot of rain. We had a check yesterday at 11 o'clock, 18.5 inches of rain on Wrightsville Beach, but then, of course, with no power, it's hard to report. So I can only assume that they're well over 2 feet of rain at this point. And farther up the coast in North Carolina, we have spots that are overachieving, well over 30 inches of rain, and still more to come. So the flooding potential is there all week long. Still a very life-threatening situation down here, guys.
All right, thank you so much. Tim Waller has spent the day in downtown Greenville, where winds from this system have been quite strong at times. Tim is live there tonight. Tim?
Carol, we felt a very strong wind gust a few minutes ago, and it's more pronounced when you're standing around these tall downtown Greenville buildings. And that has been the case here in downtown Greenville all day long. In fact, check it out. The wind today, the various gusts, catching a lot of people by surprise. Interesting to watch. Trees blowing, hair blowing, as the wind whipped in around these very tall buildings. In the crowd today was a couple from the Myrtle Beach area up here because of the mandatory evacuation, who had more on their minds than these occasional wind gusts.
We've actually lived in Myrtle we've owned the house for 5 years. And, you know, Matthew, we got a little bit from that, but we've never had anything like that. I've never seen one turn around and come back down once it hit. So, naturally, we were worried whether we were going to have a house to go back to or not.
And he later got word there was actually no damage in his Myrtle Beach neighborhood. A lot of people from the coast are in Greenville tonight, but some that I spoke to today say they plan to return as early as tomorrow. And a number of people who are in Greenville for the very first time, all because of this evacuation, have commented they have seen a lot of hospitality here, and they've certainly felt safe coming this far inland. But right now we're feeling a lot of gusty wind as a result of this now tropical storm Florence. Tim Waller, WYFF News 4, live in downtown Greenville.
Thank you, Tim. You could say love conquers all, even the weather. A couple from the coast had to move their wedding when Hurricane Florence threatened. So with just a few days to plan for a new venue, Denise Azores Kokoko and Joshua Benor came to Greenville. They were married this afternoon at Our Lady of the Rosary Church. From the looks of this picture, they still had a full church. Let's hope they have a peaceful and sunny honeymoon. Let's get one last check on our forecast, gentlemen.
Yeah, Carol and Michael, look at these bands of rain continue to rotate in from the northeast, Chris. And so the heaviest downpours of rain really has been confined to the eastern part of the upstate and even into parts of the foothills of North Carolina, the southeastern part of Cleveland County. But look at these pockets of some heavier rain right in through here, right over Jonesville in the northwestern part of Union County, Chris, and moving toward Lawrence and Greenwood.
Got a ½ inch per hour on this one as it's moving toward Lawrence, Greenwood, parts of Abbeville County. But you notice western half of the area is still dry, and that's going to be the case as we go through the overnight, as the greatest rain will be confined there eastbound, driest there westbound, right?
Yeah, not too much going, but it'll gradually work its way to the west, Chris. And as you can see, our 4-day plus, once we get past Monday, just a few scattered showers or maybe a thunderstorm on Monday, breezy conditions. Otherwise, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nice and dry.
Finally.
Very warm. Finally time to dry up. Chris and I will keep you updated for the remainder of tonight. Now back to you, Carol.
Thank you, and thanks for watching this special edition of WYFF News 4. Remember, we're always on your cell phone on the WYFF 4 app.
Stay safe, everyone. The meteorologists right here are still working. They'll have your forecast and updates throughout the night, and we'll see you back here at 11 o'clock. For now, good night.
Stay safe.